Hello, everybody. I just shot a video before this to try out my LG V20 phone and its recording capabilities. I wasn't very happy with the quality, and I've adjusted a few things now to give everybody a rundown and I guess a nice video presentation of the upstairs remodel at the house that I own in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. If you feel like looking at more pictures or sort of a humorous look at what was been going on there, I did start a Facebook page specific to this property, and it is called the Dejanovich Mansion. I am the owner, and my name is Yanko Dejanovich, and I also own my own small construction company that's been doing all this work. It's kind of like I'm showing off my skills and showing people so that they get an idea of what exactly was going on in this house rather than taking single still pictures. More shameless self-promotion by me. So I'm standing right now at the entrance, the lower entrance to the upstairs apartment of 557 Pleasant Street. And this area here of where the stairs entry is kind of been the throw off for all of my other projects that I do, out in the field subcontracting. So these are all materials and stuff that have come out of other houses. Some tools, my lift, my jumper cables, random screws and paint and God knows what else. But the reason why I'm down here and I'm climbing up the second flight of stairs here is to show people so that they can get an idea of what the old original casings and trim work were like in this house. And I'm standing here looking at two doorways that are kind of on the left-hand side of my stairs that have been boarded up when they converted this property to two separate units, kind of a duplex. And I have no idea when that was done. I've owned this house for, I'm on a land contract for the last 3.5 years, and I'm not sure how long the original owner had this property or how many owners there have been since. Now, and I guess to make a long story short, I believe the house was built in, what does it say up there? I found a Cosmopolitan magazine when I was renovating upstairs in 1893. So I'm still unclear about what this new entryway was, or if it was added on at a future date. Now, this is just the current entryway to the upstairs, but if this was open in the past, leading into the downstairs, I think that the main entry is on the other side of the house. Now, and because of the length of this video, I can't really go over there and try to show you all that. But there's plenty of pictures on the Dejanovich Mansion Facebook page to show other exterior views of the property. Yeah, if only I could make a 3-hour video on this thing. So you can see that those casings are pretty substantial back in the day. And that's all been removed since by previous owners again. This is my original staircase, however, and the railing that leads up. A couple of the spindles were kicked out when I had them. And there was another newel post up at the top, which received that railing at one time. But when I bought the house, the newel post wasn't on the property. So that's been discarded over time, sadly. Here's an example of the old newel post, and it's at the bottom of the stairs. And it's been cut to fit the octagon. the octagon style. It has 8 sides on the bottom, tapering up with these wild round and radius turned pieces up at the top. It was probably pretty nice when it was new. So, and this stairs had a blue carpet, which is where you can see the old where it had been painted around on the sides. I removed that. It was pretty dilapidated when I removed it a couple of years ago. You can see some of the old screws are still in there, or nails that held it down. And you can see the blue fibers in there. There's no doubt in my mind that this is the original stairs. This main wall that runs up, roughly 18.6 to the top of the ceiling height has just been pummeled over the years. Dents from renters. This crack is a stress crack in the plaster. And again, I'm not sure if this was new. Because this base down here on the bottom is showing me that it looks like it's original. I'm not sure what this pop-out was originally. Someday I will get to restoring this. One day at a time, folks. One day at a time. So, what you're going to see in the next couple of minutes is the upstairs area that I've been working on for the last 3.5 years. Now, during the course of the upstairs renovations, I discovered that this, and I'm going to point to it, this is your original tread here, and that's down on the next one. And so you can see that this has been decked over with a new hardwood floor at one point in time, making this an illegal stair. All stairs are supposed to be uniform in their height and in their width, or within a certain amount. But that kind of messes up code. Now, I was fortunate that the city inspectors didn't notice that when they've been up here. I pulled all permits to get this renovation completed, but I was fortunate that they didn't notice that. I hope they don't watch this video. So that's kind of interesting. It's part of the history of this house and not being entirely sure of how many times it has been remodeled. Now, as I approach the top of the stairs and I look down, you see off to my right I have this monstrosity of a closet that was added. Now, it looks to me like the original floor or landing up here continued around in this area, which would be from here, and then I'll just point over here to my left. And then the entryway would have been somewhere around or behind this makeshift closet that's been put in here. And it's kind of butchered. This is only 1/4 inch plywood. I'm not real happy with that, but it came with the property. And I have added this new light. This is part of all of the electrical rewiring that we've been doing. I added this light. I know it's probably hard to see with the video. I'll shut it off here at the top of the stairs so maybe we can see it. I don't know. Jeez. No, you can't see anything. Okay, forget that part, huh? Maybe I'll shoot in the daytime. All right, here's the main entryway to the apartment that has had most of the work done. And right now I'm using this smaller area as sort of the selection area for the finished carpentry that's been getting installed in the upstairs. So this is kind of messy right now. This is some base that's been milled by me. It's actually 3 pieces of a little bit extra that I was going to maybe possibly try to fit in this entryway area if I had enough. And behind this is another window at the top of the stairs that leads out. It's in the middle of an octagon face. And this window has been replaced with vinyl by the previous owner, and it wasn't the right size window, so I have a fill in the bottom. And also, to add, I guess, more butchering to the process of all these remodels. This casing here is not original either. I found this on the interior too before I gutted it, and it's not a match to what was originally showed before downstairs. I'm sort of partial to trying to keep the old details in place rather than replacing with new or trying to match. Like you can see some of the finish work for this closet. Little coat closet for part of that thing at the top of the stairs. Currently being used as storage for a lot of my tools and other things. I have a very large problem currently with my personal tools and construction stuff and personal effects being separated right now because I'm in the middle of a remodel. And here's that. This is a new light which is also hooked up to the one on the stairs, and they go out in tandem. I tried to get some of the fixtures that looked a little bit older too to fit in. Like this one you really can't see with the darkness of the video, but there's 3 of those that match. One's in the kitchen, one's in my closet, and one's out here. All right, as we come in the front door of the place, I'll just scope around, and there's no lights on. We're looking at the bedroom right now. There's a pocket door there. It is open all the way. That leads into the bedroom area. Off to my left, you see the outlets that are set up for a TV that will be mounted on a arm. There's the outlet and the cable hookups. This wire sticking out of the wall is for a thermostat. And I'm trying to get a digital thermostat heating control that's smartphone capable for this. So I could program it or whatever, or change it when I'm not in the house. Kind of like the idea was to keep some of the historical, be sympathetic to the historical rebuild and make it like a nice new old house. And everything that you're looking at right now has been completely gutted. There's plenty more pictures that I've been putting on there. Now, I guess the reason why I showed you all that casing was for us to look at it and try to get it close to what the old one was. And originally this house up here was plaster and lath. I pretty much amazed myself when I did all this. All of this casing was made out of birch that I got from another carpenter buddy of mine. He makes cabinets. He's kind of like not using birch anymore, and he had moved on to maple for his cabinets and stuff. And this had been sitting in his shop, and he asked me to get rid of it because he was going to pour concrete in his warehouse shop area there. And I told him I'd take it. It's been sitting outside on my... I have a slab out there for a garage that was never finished, and it's been under tarps was under tarps for about 2 years. So what I did was I milled all this. I grabbed all the birch out of those piles, and I rented another friend of mine's shop for 3 days and milled it all. Put this bevel on. Sanded it all. Stained it all. grabbed enough stock so that I would have enough to finish this upstairs. All the casings for the windows, jambs, base, and built it all. So this is like, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing when you look at it. I'm very impressed with how it turned out. So the first thing was, and I'll just point to them for, I don't know, people who don't understand what was going on, for lack of a better term. This first one that I have my finger on is considered the jam stock. And so we milled that piece. The next little one here is kind of like a small filler piece that was made just with another profile on it to make this whole casing pop out. Again, trying to be sympathetic to the original millworking that was in the house. And then there's the casing that lays up over all that. And then this end cap piece too that goes around the whole thing to make it pop out. It's out about a 2.25 inches. At the bottom, I manufactured 22 of these little birch plinth blocks. And they're out about 2 5/8. And just left a small profile on the top from that end cap. Sanded all these out. Screwed them together. Stained them. Started over. Now, my downstairs doesn't have a plinth block like that. But I thought it would add a lot more style. And you can see them down at the bottom on this opening. These doors. All the original doors got pulled out. We have a local Habitat for Humanity reclaim store. And one day when I was out there, I found 4 doors for like $200, but they weren't corded for their locks or anything. This one's got a nice lock. So, and they also didn't have their hinges on there. None of these hinges were routed out. So I went and I got the hardware. I got all black and the locks. And it was probably around, by the end of the day, it was probably around $420, $430 or something like that for all of the new hardware, locks. And then I cored them all out and redid all the hinges, built the jambs out of that birch stock, and went on with it. Originally, I was trying to match that color, and you can see that I missed the color a little bit on the amount of red hue on the stain. But in the end, I looked at it and I went, you know what? I still like it. I'm not going to come back and try and redo that. I had been down to Sherwin-Williams about 5 times with trying to get a match on these doors. So I guess that's one of the drawbacks of trying to, or not custom ordering your doors to begin with. I mean, it is a lot easier to also get pre-hung doors and just hang them. But since I'm not rich and I have the skills to do that, I just decided to go that route. Of course, I mean, it made sense at the time. This is a little niche that was not part of the original structure. And this got a flat backing piece, which was all the drop-offs from my base, so I had something to go over that. And then base pieces for what would be the jam on this, and then a small pop-out piece around for the final. I'm very happy with that. Good thing is that this outlet here is already going to be wired up to have a direct in for your phone charger, USB connection. So you can just park your phone right there if you feel like it. Here's my my $15 real estate sale lamp that got painted black. Still looks like Grandpa's cords attached to it. And I have a Philips Hue bulb in there currently, and it's set at red. So that's what it looks like. I'm either in hell or at a disco somewhere. And I can get a reflection of myself. How embarrassing is that? So here's the two windows. These were existing, and these were already done at one time by the homeowner in vinyl. So I have a vinyl window here, and then we cased and did that profile that was close for all of these, and that just bumped up to the old window. I wasn't gonna. I mean, the vinyl windows, yeah, they're okay. They're not historic, but they are a little bit more efficient than the old windows. I have no idea where the old panes or anything are. There was nothing on site when I purchased the property. So what you're looking at here is these walls in this room and the ceiling were all gutted. Meaning we took off the plaster and lath, and at that time I took off one layer of drywall that had been put over, so I know that there was one remodel up here previously. And then the whole rebuild process was done from there. Insulation, new electrical. What else? Drywall, plaster, paint, and then the application of all this finished carpentry stuff. Behind this wall is the chimney, but we'll get to that in a minute. This opening here originally was just a door, and I've added the framing and the header to open up the opening and place a bar here eventually when I get more finances available. Kind of embarrassing doing this video. I've never done this before. That's okay. And what else do I want to go over? Oh yeah, this is what fell out of the ceiling when I was removing the plaster and lath a couple of years ago, and you can see the date on this Cosmopolitan magazine is 1893. I'm going to try and keep that item there because it is the only thing that dates this house correctly. In my area, in terms of the dating of historic properties, there were two major events in the Oshkosh area that affected what their dating system is. And the first one was a big fire. I'm unsure of the date on it, but they just took bulk housing and placed a date on it, all the same, so that, I don't know, we live in a socialist world. I have no idea why they would do that. But the second event was they changed the way that they file old buildings, and so a lot of the properties got listed as either 1925 or 1900. So I couldn't get an answer on whether or not they were changing over from microfiche or handwritten notes or what, but that's what kind of messes up the property number on my house, but that's my proof right there. It's currently listed as 1900. I'll turn on this light here. This is a new light that got installed, and a camera probably can't pick it up. It will light up right above where the bar is when I get some more money. This rather interesting piece here on the wall is from I guess an aspiring artist from the local area. Her name is Carrie Molinsky, and she was going to try and give this to me for free, but we ended up settling on a cost. It's rise and fall. And here's the old existing floor heat vent register. I took this outside today and painted it, cleaned it up and painted it a gloss black. The freaking thing looks brand new. Again, all my finished carpentry work down here on the bottom. This new base and the double shoe. This is double base shoe was to cover the old floor scar. In some places I had to get wider, about 1.25 inch thickness to cover it up. Otherwise you'd see a gap in the flooring there. And this is the view down on my knees of the floor. All this got sanded out. There's more pictures of what was on here at the Dejanovich Mansion Facebook page. I sanded this out one hot sunny day. The next process was not really staining. The only thing that this floor has on it, otherwise it would look like this. This is unfinished. This got sanded at the same time. And you can see this little gray mark where I spilled it is vinegar and steel wool mixture. So it's not really a stain at all. I was trying to get this floor to go gray. However, when I experimented with that process, I did some Varathane. There's a gallon of it right there. I believe it's satin gloss. When I hit this floor with it after that stain color, it reverted back to its red and coffee and nutmeg hues. Even though my satin gloss doesn't have any... This is just clear. You can see it says clear. And that's satin Varathane. I mean, I think there's something with that process if you're trying to make the lumber look aged, that when this product gets applied to it, it's going to change a little. Or I should have probably coated it with a different thing, but I lived and learned on that one. I'm still happy with how the color turned out. 2 layers of paint and carpet glue were on it. It was very interesting. It took me 2.5 days in rental to do this. Mostly sanding with 20 grit. Again, all those casings. This is the pocket door. I have some areas down there at the bottom where I got to get in. I think I might just paint them black because I couldn't get in there with the sander. So we're going to walk in this room and the Philips Hue motion sensor will turn on the lights for me. That's pretty amazing. There's the sensor. Okay, so here's back to the pocket door. And again, this door, it's just to separate both sides, but I didn't want it to be like you were in prison when you're in there. So we went with the glass pane one. I believe this door I purchased, I think I got it for like $10, but it was like stored in a barn. Another friend of mine had it. So we put the pocket door hardware on it. I still have to do something for the handle. And I sanded off a lot of the old stain that was on it. It was pretty deteriorated. And now I've taped off the windows on it because I'm going to add another coat of poly on it to make it shine. Kind of gearing up for that process, so I don't slap poly all over. You can see maybe with the camera, I'm not sure, you can see it's a lot duller right now in its sheen. That poly is going to make it shine. Some of the views up here with this birch are just mesmerizing. I have a lot of nails to fill yet, like on the lower base and stuff, but I'll get to it. So I guess before we go in there, we can visit around this kitchen area, because this is where the bulk of the work still has to be done. A lot of dust. Got to add a couple pieces to this window here. I installed the crown. These kitchen cabinets got to get repainted. New hardware applied. I got to get countertops. The back mosaic tile. And a sink. Also, I mean, just according to my mental checklist, this tile still has to get grouted here. So I've been holding off on that base shoe down there. These rear outlets that are back here, like there's one back there, there's a wire sticking out. I can't really do yet or get hooked up. There's another one with the wires in it. Can't really hook up yet until I get my backsplash on there. I also have to make a decision on the mosaic tile. This upper cabinet scar is going to get covered by probably an 1.5 inch piece of that birch that I still have. It's going to cover that band up there. There was some cheesy molding on there. Same thing back here. I have to do something to cover where this plaster shoots into that cabinet. It's almost impossible to get in there. This is a little access door down here that leads into the lower roof above the kitchen. Got to leave access for it in case somebody ever has to get in there. So I had to make a door here for this. You can see I framed out around it. It's behind all the rest of my stock here. So yeah, there is a light in here. Why don't we use that? This is the original chimney. Woo! Love it. This wall, like right here, was walled off straight at one point in time. When I did the demo up here, I gutted this, got in here, cleaned up this chimney, and left 2 faces of it exposed. So that's about 4 coats of poly on that sucker, though, to make it shine and make it solid so that none of this stuff comes flying off of there, you know. You just want to make it so that it's nice and tight. Again, got to finish grout around this. And shoe. That double base shoe I'm going to match again. There's some more of those awesome knots and stuff showing through in there. Sometimes when you look around, you start walking around this place, you just get lost. It's like a lot of those TV shows, you know, like HGTV and stuff like that, they end up painting over all this casings and stuff. And to me, it's like what sort of adds to it and makes it look old. It's a lot of work. So I'm standing in the doorway right now to the kitchen, where what would be the doorway. It's where the countertop's going to go. And if you look down on this small corner that isn't covered yet, this is all the pieces that are on every casing thing. You can see the end, little fillers in there, the casing, that side piece, the 2 jambs, and this is just a piece that caps that joint. That one went across the whole thing. Plinth block's down at the bottom again. It's stunning. So I'm just trying to fulfill the idea of building a new old house. I love it so far, though. Again, originally, this house up here, because of the plaster and lath construction, had no headers, king studs, or trimmer packages. So when I got up here and gutted it and I reframed everything, I added all the bearing to it. It was quite the endeavor. In fact, the city of Oshkosh still can't figure out how the hell this thing is standing up. It's the plaster and lath. Actually, the lath and the outside sideboards are what supplied the shear strength, or the horizontal and the vertical strength. But this has got all new. Now, as I stand here, this is what would be my bedroom area. And it's only around 850 square feet up here. I have all my tools and everything here, contractor stuff. There's some more of that empty cans of the Varathane. A couple of my plinth blocks in case I made a couple extra just in case I end up ripping out that closet that's out there. I'm going to be saving these guys. All my tools, some personal effects over there, planer, whatever else. Compressor. Here's some more of the stock that I'm running out of. These pieces here are what is going to go around these remaining two windows. I've started this window. I have the sill run. And I ripped off the old casings. There's the old casings are still on that one. So this was a more recent remodel. You can actually see here is a good example of this piece that's in here is the old window, what would be the jamb. And then they went inside of that when they yanked out the old windows for the new vinyl. So I really didn't, this is what should be big enough for your opening anyway. If I was going to redo this, I would get something made by Pella probably that was a little bit more historically accurate than just the vinyl single panes. This outlet over here, which would be near the bed, is going to be another one that's hooked up with a USB port for your phone. And I have my electrician coming back to do that. A nice little feature, As I walk around this room, you can see there's my two closets. Now, the door on the left is what leads to that cheesy closet that somebody added on. I don't really want to go out there, but we will. It's all filled with chunks of wood and stuff from my old, and there's no light. So you can't even hardly see in there. We'll just close that up. So there's the other vent, which is coming up for heat to this room. It's a little dark. But I liked how all this base turned out. It's very inspiring. I didn't put any crown molding in this room. It's just my bedroom. The big door that we're going to walk over to and through, this leads to the bathroom. And this turned out great. I'll just turn on the lights. First thing was the floor transition. And this is the matching tile for what's in the kitchen. When we're talking about transition, we're talking about this little thing that I just felt with my foot, I guess, down there. I ripped up the 3/4 hardwood flooring that was in here, or it was closer to 7/8, and that was the same material as is finished now. This is Douglas fir. And while we were in there, we rewired some outlets for the lower apartment, and then we reapplied the tile so that it was flush. I try not to cheat on any of my remodels. I don't layer over anything. If something's got to get gutted, it's got to get gutted. There's a lot of companies out here in the United States now that seem as though they have something that goes over everything. Now, if not for the glare in here, we would be looking down Pleasant Street through this window, but it's reflecting the other side of my bathroom. This window had been replaced by the original homeowner with a smaller window in width. And because of that, I had a huge scar here to finish. This wall did not get gutted as the original plaster. And this is where I stopped, was right here in the corner. So it's like everything on this wall, all the way down, was brand new drywall. I even insulated this wall too, just in case, you want to keep bathroom noises out from the rest of the place. So it's very dead in here. Got a new mirror. Another door that got set. And the same thing, same birch, made all this. And in this bathroom, I added a double piece of crown. I have enough cove. I have like an 1 3/4 cove and a 3/4 cove to add to this. Some things about the bathroom that I didn't like. Well, first I had a pedestal sink that was in here. Somebody put that sucker, and I actually like it. It's kind of cool. But I wanted to gut this. It's sort of Art Deco cast iron tub. I just didn't have the money to keep going. In the future, I think I'm going to build a snail shower here out of tile and get rid of this cheesy aluminum door. And this is a vinyl pad add-on to a shower conversion, so it's not original. It's Art Deco. I'm going to call it Art Deco with that those sort of bump outs on the bottom of that cast iron tub. Tells me that it was later, that this was part of a later remodel, but because of financial reasons I had to stop here. This cabinet was open, and we are going to layer over the back and leave it an open cabinet, but it's going to be stained this this deep color. I have to go get sheets of birch veneer and stain them and start over and build that. So that's another thing that's not quite done yet. I added in these shelves. Found these brackets. Nice shelf brackets. There's 4 of these that were matching at the antique store. And then it's tough to find nice pieces of this. This is actually pine for these shelves. I had to cheat because I couldn't find something wide enough. Just some place to set all your things, your personal belongings. All kinds of stuff that you do in here when you're in the process of bathing or getting cleaned up. That cool ass lamp up there, that was the most expensive fixture. It's a LED bubble lamp. You can't see the bubbles though, can you? Oh yeah, there they come. Camera's got to get right. It's a fairly roomy bathroom for the size. It's not like you feel constricted in there or in a galley. I like it. Then you close the door. I've added these stops. You can see down by my foot. And that is because if the door opens and swings out, it's going to hit the edge of this plinth block. And you don't want that making contact. So, there's the stops we're adding. I was going to experiment with a hinge stop, but there was no way to get it to hit on this casing that's out further. One of the little issues I ran into along the way. Still really enjoying this because I haven't had my own walk-in closet for 11 years. And these 2 beautiful little 24-inch doors right there side by side, I think it just looks great. Hung these, did this casing, built these jambs, made this so that it opens nice. And coming in, you're looking at the closet area, which I was working on today. I was trying to get my hanger racks put in there. I have 2 places to hang right there so far. I think was planning on doing something right off here to the left as well, but I don't know yet how much materials I'm going to have left to build more shelving or not. I'm running tight on the amount of birch that I have left over and stained. And I just love it. It looks like an old house in here. I had to fill a lot more nail holes. But we're getting to the final stages. I actually caulked this right by the base where it meets this exterior wall today. And in this whole closet area, the imperfections from the plaster waving in and out was leaving a small gap there. I couldn't bend the base in enough. So we just caulked it. I guess, even if I made an old house, there's still some imperfections in it. And this is all of the finished carpentry work on that. The lone octagon window is in the closet. And that's just, I love how it turned out. It looks, I know it's a lot of pieces. It's like 24 pieces right there for that sucker. You'd be looking out at the corner right now. You can maybe see a light in there. So I'm just so happy for this part. There's another one of those lights too to match. Kind of has like a smoky glass bulb on it. So you can see it looks like smoke. If I shut it off, I don't think we'd be able to get it with the darkness to see it clearly. All of the rest of this stuff. So that's where I am right now. I mean,